What's going on out there? This is cigar boxing, man. I'm in my man cave, and I'm sitting back smoking my cigar. I got my Don Pepe and Garcia Blue. The label just fell off, so let me just put that over here. And I'm just here. I want to talk about the fight that happened this weekend. I wanted to take a little time to let it absorb in before I start talking about it. I know all y'all put up your videos and stuff like that. I wanted to wait because, like I said before, some of y'all and some of the stuff y'all are putting up, y'all are full of shit. Because you talking about everything else besides boxing, but I'm getting to that later. What did I see in the fight that happened this weekend? What I saw in the fight, let me break it down to you. Round one was, first of all, it was at the Madison Square Garden, New York City, for the WBO super featherweight title, 130 pounds, between Vasily Lomachenko and Guillermo Rigondeaux. And both guys are double Olympic gold medalists. Both guys are southpaws. Both guys are most experts pound for pound list. So it's rare in boxing. Last time in a big fight that I can see two southpaws fighting was definitely in Austin Trout and Laura, I think. But with that being said, what did I see in the fight? And some of us spend too much time politicking and not talking about what we really saw in boxing, what we really saw in the fight. I'm no expert by any means. All I am is a fan and somebody that's been watching boxing for a long time. So when I look at it, I think this. Round one happened, and I knew it was going to be, a slower pace simply because everybody was trying to fill each other out. But once everybody, both fighters were filling each other out, the biggest thing that stood in my way that I noticed immediately is the footwork of Lomachenko. Lomachenko was not standing still. Lomachenko was all over the place. And I just felt it was hard for Rigondeaux to establish this jab. That's one. So that round could have went to anybody. Round two. The biggest thing I noticed was the distance. How Lomachenko started closing the distance, being in and out, and upping his volume of punching. Around two, I was kind of like, man, Rigondeaux looks funny. And the thing is, Rigondeaux could not establish his jab. He started going to the body, but he definitely did not land that jab to the head, and Lomachenko was all over the place. Round two, I had to give to Lomachenko. Round three. Once round three started, that's when the fight totally changed. Lomachenko upped the volume of his punching and kept the same thing applied with the pressure. Lomachenko fought his usual fight, but Rigo just didn't know what to do, in my opinion. As I watched the fight, my opinion changed. At first, I thought it may go to a decision, but once the third round hit and I started seeing Rigo hold a lot more, the first thing I kept saying was, this may even be a knockout. So dominance continued between round 3 and 4 all the way through, and then all the way to round 6, and then Rigo got a point deducted for holding, and once he went to the corner, the trainer said no more, and the fight stopped. What could I tell from this performance? A few things. Congratulations to Vasily Lomachenko for doing his thing, or Vasily Nomas Chenko, and what he did in this fight. He made Rigo look ordinary. I know a lot of you are going to talk about Rigo coming up to weight classes and talk about Rigo was old and different things like that. But the thing is, if Rigo had won this fight, you wouldn't be talking about he was old. You wouldn't be talking about he came up 2 weight classes. I just think some of us out here pick and choose what we want to talk about when we talk about this fight. This fight that Rigo called for, this fight that Lomachenko said he'd make the fight at 126, and it just did not get made. It's not a lot to talk about here, but the biggest thing when I thought about this fight and when it was originally announced is the fact that I really worried about the boxing styles in their matchups more than anything else. Simply because I know Lomachenko just had such a high volume of punch output compared to Rigo, period. And I thought stylistically it was kind of a mismatch, especially with Rigo then coming up 2 weight classes. Then you add the fact of the volume of punching. Then you add the fact of the footwork. And then you add the fact of the defense of Lomachenko. I just didn't think it would be a good matchup. But some of y'all right now, and some of your videos are trying to act like Rick Diao was a bum. Rick Diao is not a bum. Give this man his props. He was not a bum. He's a good fighter. Matter of fact, a great fighter. One of the great Cuban fighters, simply because some of y'all are talking about he's 37 and talking about he's old. Then you need to say the same thing about Ortiz. Okay, because if Wilder fights Ortiz and Wilder beats Ortiz, I don't want to hear about anything about Ortiz being old. So, y'all got to pick and choose what you talk about in this fight. And the thing is, with Rigondeaux quitting on the stool, it's a lot to be said there, especially with Lomachenko's, a few of his opponents sitting out and quitting on their stool. When I think about this fight, one of the things that comes to mind is I just don't think anybody on 130 can beat him. Whether it's Belchet, whether it's Ogawa, whether it's Mercado, none of these guys can beat Lomachenko at 130. Even if Lomachenko goes up to 135 and fights Mikey Garcia, I think Mikey Garcia could lose that fight. Simply because stylistically, when I think about the way both of them fight, it's not a good matchup, period. So, do I think Lomachenko is pound for pound? No. I think Terrence Crawford is still pound for pound. I just think a lot of fans need to get excited about Lomachenko's fight style. I think it's good for boxing. I think they're going to push him. So we'll see what happens with this fight, man. I don't have too much to say about this. I want to see more from Lomachenko. Some of y'all are excessive fans. Some people get upset about it. But people are excited about a guy who has a good fight style. Just like some people were excited about Pacquiao. I know some were extreme. But you got to give Lomachenko his props. His fight style is incredible. And no, I don't inhale my cigars. What do I think is next for Rigo? I think Rigo should have 1 or 2 more fights and then he needs to retire. I feel that he is old, but what was most amazing about this fight, when you really look at it, nobody has stepped in the ring and made Rigondeaux look ordinary. And plus, Lomachenko doesn't get props for his defense. He made sure that Rigo couldn't land that jab, but also just moving out of the way to counters was probably the biggest thing I got to say about Lomachenko. Lomachenko is a delight to see. Some of y'all, make your comments and you racial and stuff like that. Forget about that. I'm talking about boxing. I don't care about emotion. Boxing is where it is. So Lomachenko does deserve props and credit for this fight. I see some of y'all are talking about he needs to fight some of the other guys in the division to become undisputed. Yeah, but please remember this. When you talk about Lomachenko and that same thing, you need to do that to all the other boxers that some of y'all talk about. Whether it's Adonis Stevenson in the light heavyweight division, whether it's, Canelo, and him getting a belt. Remember, Canelo is popular, but he doesn't have a belt at middleweight. That's the same thing in clearing up the, light heavyweight division with Charlo. or I'm sorry, the junior middleweight division with Charlo. And, welterweight, we need to start cleaning up that division. Thurman has 2 belts. Let's start getting undisputed. But that same standard you hold Lomachenko to, you need to hold all other fighters in other divisions too. Yo, what's up, 10 players? I see you in the house, brother. What's up, man? This is a damn good cigar, man. Woo! I wish you had one of these. This is a good cigar right here. Don Pep and Garcia Blue. This is a strong one, man. Taste that pepper kick in there. I think some people are a little heavy on Lomachenko, but the thing is, you got to give him his credit and respect for what he did. He's gonna be somebody that we need to watch. Yeah, I agree. Same here, brother. He's gonna be a fighter we want to watch, not a snooze fest. Some guys just don't have the right fight style for us to enjoy and sit and watch. And the thing is Lomachenko, with his fight style being so exciting, he reminds me of Roy Jones a little bit, to where everybody paid attention to Roy Jones regardless of who he fought, simply because his fight style was so good. You didn't know what Roy Jones was going to do minute to minute. I think you're going to see Lomachenko move up to 135, possibly 130, or 140. But this is a guy to watch, man. And the thing I'm the most impressed about, period, is the fact that he speaks English. His English has gotten better. You have so many fighters that come from different places around the world and come to America to make their money, and then they can't speak fucking English. Canelo. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that? But I'm very impressed with Lomachenko and what he did. But I agree with some of you, I would love to see him make his mandatories and make his fight to unify the division at 130 pounds. He's going to be somebody to watch, man. His fight style is so fucking exciting. That's the same thing that made Arturo Gatti. Arturo Gatti wasn't the best boxer in the world, but the thing about him was you liked his fight style, and you knew when he came in, he came to fight. And I think that's the way Arturo Gatti made a name for himself. Rest in peace. God bless his soul. Yes. The thing that I don't like is sometimes with some of the Cuban fighters, they go through all their training, and then when they exile and get away from Cuba and they come to the United States, they're too old. But I don't want to hear about Rigondeaux being too old. Because the thing is, you got Ortiz, who's, 36, 37 years old, trying to fight to get a belt in the heavyweight division. So some of y'all need to pick and choose what you're going to decide. Say a guy's too old or whatever. But some of you are just riding because of strict emotion and just race. You need to stop that, man. Enjoy the boxing. Just enjoy the fight. It's like we're stuck on the politics of a fight more so than what the match is really about, some of us. Case in point, Anthony Joshua has a lot of attention because he beat Vladimir Klitschko, one of the longest reigning heavyweights of all time. But you don't want to give him props. Some of you are saying he was a 40-year-old man. Some of you say he came off a loss against Tyson Fury. I understand that. But my thing is, would some of you be the same way if Wilder had knocked him out? That's all I'm saying. We wouldn't be calling him a 40-year-old man then. So my thing is, know your boxing, man. Work on it. Some of y'all in your fight styles and how you broke it down, you don't know boxing. And that's apparent. Some of y'all out there just have no freaking idea what y'all are talking about. Give Lomachenko his props. I give Rigo his props. He's been dominant. Don't act like Rigo wasn't undefeated before he came into this fight. I know some of y'all keep talking about the 8 pounds. But was it Bernard Hopkins who went up to light heavyweight, which was 15 pounds more than what he's usually fighting at, and still dominated? So the thing is, you got to pick and choose what you talk about, because some of us out here, we do know boxing. We do know the instance when you talk about guys like Sugar Ray Leonard and how he stepped up and being special and a great fighter, and how he stepped up and he took that light heavyweight belt, even though that was at a catch weight on 168. That's what I'm saying. Some of y'all talk about Rigondeaux and talk about him breaking jaws in his last few fights, but didn't take an account of fight styles. Some of y'all don't take that into account. But that's all I got to say post-fight. I think Lomachenko is going to be here to stay. He is the truth. What was amazing is, like I said, he made Rigo look ordinary. And then second, I'm going to tell you, he is not pound for pound #1 on my list. #1 is still Terrence Crawford. There's other guys. I think that he needs a few more opponents to be #1. I still have Terrence Crawford because he came undisputed. But other than that, I don't have too much to say. Y'all can put questions up. I'll answer any question you have right now. I'll give it maybe another minute or so because there's not many people online. But I'm sitting here in my man cave smoking my cigar, drinking my rum. And yep, that's right. I got Crawford #1. That's right. And I think that once Lomachenko goes up in weight, we're going to see more matchups. But I would love to see an Ogawa matchup with Lomachenko because Tevin Farmer lost this weekend. Nobody's talking about that fucking fight. That was a big fucking fight this weekend. I think Ogawa got the IBF strap. And, you know, you got Belchet and you also got Makata. Makata, I think, it's the WBA, and Belchet is the WBC. But yeah, that fight was this weekend. That's right, 10 players. Shouts out to you, man. What's up? Yeah, and Tevin Farmer, even though he tried to put in a fight, is it me or does Tevin Farmer look cross-eyed in his interviews, man? He look cross-eyed like he really can't see the fucking fighter. He be giving interviews like this, looking that way. I don't know, man, but Tevin Farmer put up a fight, but he lost a unanimous decision. And not only that, what's up with Salido getting his ass whooped this weekend against Miguel Roman? Salido, I'm not saying he's done, but he definitely got handed a 2-piece and a biscuit this fucking weekend. And that's the only guy to defeat Lomachenko. And then he wants a rematch with Lomachenko? Hell, fuck no. Because Salido got his ass beat. Miguel Roman ain't no bitch. Miguel Roman can fight, man. But with that being said, man, I don't have too much to say to all y'all out there. This is Cigar Boxing. Anytime you want to discuss real boxing and just talk about the facts and have a good discussion, come here. Yeah, true. 10 players. Yeah, heard he retired though. Yeah, Salido, he's been in the game a while, but Miguel Roman beat that ass. He beat his ass. I watched that fight earlier today. I was like, damn. I didn't know what to think about that fight because Salido was a little bit older, and Salido has been in some serious wars, whether it's with Lomachenko or either it's with Juan Manuel Lopez and some of the wars he's been in with him. See, some of y'all don't remember that, but ever since that war, Juan has not been the same. And he tried to, you know, he was going through a whole bunch of stuff, but he got his ass whooped. But all y'all out there, man, yeah, exactly. I ain't got too much more to say, man. I'm going to put up another video shortly. This is Cigar Boxing. Enjoy your cigar and good drinks, man. I'm done.